minutes break. Yeah, our speaker can sit here. Yeah.
At least you guys in order.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Our second panel is going global, Chinese educational startup. As we all know, like Chinese startup, educational startup has faced some difficulties in the last 2 years, and now they figure out new ways to continue their service. So let's welcome our four speakers: Laurie, Julia, Jiani, and Artin.
Hi everyone, thank you for having us here.
Okay, that's it? Okay. Oh, let's take it over from here. Okay, so it's a lot of people here. Oh, excited. Okay, so let's have a quick intro among the four speakers, including myself, and then we'll dive into some questions. What shall we take, maybe 2 minutes or 2 minutes? Okay, myself. Larry Lee, managing partner of Amino Capital. We're headquartered in Palo Alto, right outside Stanford, for more than 10 years. We invest over 200 companies, and about 17 of them become a unicorn, and like 30 of them become a valuation from 100 million to about 1 billion. So we invest a lot of Stanford professors and students, and we are very excited. Myself to be here today. And education is a part that I care a lot. We invest quite a few companies. We may have time to discuss later on. But I would like each of you to introduce yourself, and it's a very outstanding panel here.
Yes, hi everyone, my name is Artin. I'm a head of the US market at the Art World Academy. Some of you may know this company. It's main Shuba in China, and also a product Artopia. Before becoming head of the US market, I actually came from the software world. I was a product designer at the companies like Adobe, Walmart Labs, and I get to this space through my consultancy firm, the Bridge Group. We're consulting the Art World Academy, and yeah, that's how I get into the education space. Super excited to be here. Thank you.
Hi everyone. This is Jiani, and you can also call me Nini. So currently I'm working at Think Academy, 学思, in TAL 合未来. So actually the title you are seeing right now is the curriculum designer manager. It was like a job for me like a year ago because I was building up the whole curriculum for 学思 in the US market, and I graduated from that job like last year, and I started to build our middle school business operation, and right now focusing on the test prep for the high schools. So just gradually expand our market, not only focusing on the elementary school, but also going off to the middle school and the high schooler side. And also I have a special callback for this event because I was the co-founder cohort of Epic with Hua, one of my colleagues, 5 years ago. So yeah, don't calculate our age. And also I personally graduated from Stanford Education School. So very, very happy to come back today. Yeah.
Hi everybody, my name is Julia. I'm very glad to be here, and it's such an honor to see all of you. I started my journey back at Barnard and did education and women leadership all the way back since early 2010s. And then joined McKinsey & Company and then Tencent, and I did my startup in education, then found my way finally back to Spark. At Spark, I was in charge of I was a chief of staff and in charge of all the fundraising strategy, and also other business units. And last year, I moved back to the US and be in charge of all the market here in the North America. So very honored to be here. And Nini and I were talking. One of our goals here was to meet all of you. So feel free to ask any questions and then got to know us afterwards.
Okay, so the education is a big topic. So we have a lot of things going on here. I have a few questions, but we may not cover all of them. So we just bring the question one at a time. But I hope each of you can answer, but you can skip one or two. That's okay because we have plenty of questions. If any of you have questions, just raise your hands. And I always say wherever I go, I give a talk. I always say there's no stupid question. There's only stupid answers. So I can ask question, or you can ask any question. There's no stupid questions.
Much pressure now.
Oh, yeah, for the second part. Yeah. And okay. So first of all, like right now, as we know that GPT has been changing a lot of things. There's lots of talk, lots of anxiety. I meet a lot of students, like even from Stanford, from Harvard. Last week I was at Columbia University and New York universities. No matter how good you are, and those people are concerned, right? Whatever they did before, they did well before, they think machine could do better. So they are not sure about their future, they're not sure about their education. For some people, right, they're paying a lot of money each year for the education, but they don't feel it's worth it. It's not worth the time even to stay. So it's a lot of anxiety. Same thing here, I guess, we are all in the education business. All those challenges will affect all of us profoundly in the next few years. So I want to know from you, each of you, like for your company, what are you going to do with the new technology and what impact you feel is going to have on your company, your students, and your future? Yeah, maybe we start with Artin. Yeah, he's the head of
US market.
yeah, art world. You look Chinese too. Just kidding.
Yeah, technology involved in all our product lines at Art World Academy. From the AI standpoint, like personalization, recommendation systems are all based on the like classification algorithms, and also we use technologies like for the painting lessons when we through the camera, the generative networks, they adjust the distortion of the image. Regarding the so all of those technologies, they're great. They actually improve the learning experience. They improve the effectiveness of the learning. They improve the personalization of the experience because every person has different learning curves, and adjusting to that learning curves is very important. Regarding ChatGPT, it's a tricky one, right? Because what you assess at the end of the day, do you assess because it's a new abstraction layer that occurred. Right, before we were assessing like how something was done. Now we're more assessing like what, right? We have a like choice of what we wanna create versus how to create it. How we will integrate that to the Art World Academy? For now it's unknown. We're still kind of in discovery phase. We definitely don't want to hurt any learning experiences. So we want to be careful with that, but at the same time we want to embrace technology. We want to see how we can empower our students with this technology, and just increase the efficiency and productivity. All the time we're scared that new technology will disrupt, everything will go down, but usually humans go to the next layer, and just it's empowering us to thinking about the bigger problems, and we try to embrace that in our company as well.
Yeah, one of the company we invested called Fiction Academy is a local company here. They are using software or kind of AI just to do the self-study individualization. Has been doing pretty well. So I think there's a huge potential. They are mostly online, maybe offline once a week. But I think in each of your case, and you all have online curriculums, right? So it's a good opportunity to utilize AI to do the personalization, right?
Of course. So passing on me because I'm more closer to the front line of interaction with the teachers and also the students. So we can definitely see that if we are gonna incorporate ChatGPT in our product, it's gonna be influencing like 3 different aspects. First of all, revolute the product. Like, what is the new education product that Think Academy or even TAL can provide? Because before the technology is coming in, we are more using the technology to facilitate the very traditional classroom. For example, like teaching their math, teaching their different school subject and whatever. However, as you can see, if the ChatGPT is coming in right now, this material is not something that necessarily gonna be taught by us. So what's gonna be the new product that is not using the technology to facilitate, but using the technology itself, building in the education product that we can provide? I think this is one thing that we are definitely have to figure out. Otherwise, we're gonna be replaced. So there's gonna be the, we have to figure things out ahead of the time. Otherwise, traditional classroom is definitely gonna be, taken over by this new technology. So the second part is gonna be the teachers. So, before currently the teachers are doing things as the traditional teacher way, but what are something that is now being replaced by the technology? For example, emotional connection with the student, social emotional learning. What are some connections that can only be done between teacher and students? So this is something that our teachers have to figure out. And also in our service part, we have, so to speak, like teaching assistant. They are more involved with the service to the parents. So what are the surveys that they provide cannot be replaced by technology is the meaning of this type of the job will, exist in future. So this is something that we are exploring right now as well. And the last part is definitely gonna be our users. So what are something that students have to learn or they need to learn? For example, people are talking about, maybe in future students don't need to know what is 99乘法表, what is like 9 times 9 multiplication table, rather than what's gonna be some good prompt question to ask about ChatGPT so that they can really use this technology to facilitate their own learning. So I think, from all these three aspects, as Think Academy or even STL, we definitely need to think about it and just integrate a lot of technology to revolute a lot of so many different aspects in our current business right now.
Thank you. I think for Spark, we were all about technology from the get-go, right? That's one of the reasons why I joined Spark, because 4 out of our 4 founders are engineers themselves. One example of how we have incorporated all this wave of technology is that a lot of the image or a lot of the courseware you're seeing right now out of Spark are made out of Midjourney. So it has increased efficiency significantly. On the other hand though, as an educator at heart, I actually have a different opinion about how ChatGPT could be used, because I think in education, ChatGPT is a fancy word, right? And AI is a fancy word. And oftentimes it's more for PR purposes than to actually realized in a classroom. So I think I'm embracing the wave, but when to actually actualize or localize into our courseware, I'm more on the cautious side of what exactly it can do to our students. And I definitely entirely agree with Nini. I think it brought us to a more profound question of what is education all about, right? I was having this conversation with the headmaster of Avenues. I'm not sure if you heard that school nearby. And we were talking about, well, kids don't need to learn math anymore because we have calculator and ChatGPT, right? Now, what do they learn in a math classroom, right? Do they know how to ask innate questions? Are they curious, right? Do they know how to think critically? And I think that's more the shifting focus of our education.
Yeah, actually, I feel very strongly now with ChatGPT. With the Industrial Revolution, basically all the repetitive work, the physical work, has been replaced by machine, right? So we no longer have a 55% of the population doing farming, only like 95, right, doing farming. Now it's only like 5% of people doing farming. With ChatGPT, we have a similar implication. All the repetitive work, the white-collar people could be replaced very easily. So we are very much focused on the people who has creativity. And when we invest in people, invest in company, we want to see the company has creative edge. So I think in terms of education, I have so much I want so much kind of creativity type of education. So people no longer need to remember lots of formulas. Don't need to learn how to summarize certain things because ChatGPT did it for you already. So it's how to do some creative work. Any kind of incremental creative work is better than a lot of repetitive work. So how to make students to become more creative, I feel is so important. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the companies, the technology companies here, the online education. That really is always on the forefront for the technology adoption. So that's something I'm really excited. Okay, so wow. The creativity and other things, if I talk about it, there's a lot of things we could do, but we don't have time. Okay, next thing is more interesting or sensitive. So I think your headquarters is not in US. Now the company is coming into the US market. So we are coming from different culture, different kind of system. How do you adapt to the US market and the culture and the law here to make your business thrive? It's a very difficult, it's a very different environment, right? So as far as I know, it's a long learning curve for me, right? So, by the way, my name is called Larry Lee, because most of the partners I have have a PhD. So the Dr. Zheng, Dr. Wu, they see me as Dr. Lee, because that's the Chinese habit, right? If you're vice mayor, they call you mayor. 市长啊，副市长也是市长。Anyway, so they're all doctors, and I'm now they call me Dr. Lee. So I say no, I have a master degree. So I'm a master Lee. Okay. So English is like a Li Shifu. So Li Shifu is a very low key kind of old guy, old folks. It's a very friendly terms. I like it, and I have about more than 600,000 followers on YouTube, on TikTok. I'm happy. But yesterday, my daughter just told me, say, Master Lee may not be the good idea because in U.S. master somehow associated with slavery. See, yeah. So the culture is shifting, the political and whatever. We always have to be sensitive. So that's make me feel like, this is something I really have to think about. Do I need to continue to call myself? Because it's easy to remember, right? If I go to Columbia University, go to New York, so they call me Master Lee, everybody remember, right? So it's easy. But now I have to think about it. So same thing here, right? You're dealing with young people, and they are very on the forefront of left or right, whatever. So they are very sensitive to certain things, certain word. So how would you adapt or try to be politically not correct, but at least accepted? Yeah. So that's that.
That's actually very true. It's a great intro about the master, right? It's like a GitHub, I think they dropped the master branch for that reason. There's a bunch of memes about MasterCard, what they're gonna do. But recruiting local talent and try to, if you're entering new market, recruiting locals, because they can help you to navigate through those things. Because there's a lot of cultural differences between different regions in the world, especially like East and West, right? Like Asia and United States. There's a historical different context, there's a cultural different context. So factoring it's incredibly important. Also making research, just to not make stupid mistakes. Also, it's good to have on your board in the company people who represent different subgroups, different genders, different ethnicity. It's also helpful, and embrace diversity. Doesn't have to be extreme, but at least at some degree to address those questions is important. Yeah. I don't want to be too long.
You should. Okay. So quick question: who has been taken seriously in China back at your age? No one. No one has taken seriously in China. Okay, cool. interesting. As you guys know, that Shares is like really huge in China before the policy came out, and we have our like own way of teaching math. We have our own curriculum, and then when we first launched the curriculum in the U.S., it was like really bad. It was really bad because we kind of had this assumption that math should be globalized, right? Like in different countries, like 1 is 1, 2 is 2. Yes, I think Julia can really echo with that because we both do like math education. However, when we switched the curriculum to the US, even though we do some localization on the surface level, for example, we don't call the name in the word problem as Xiaomian or Xiaohua, right? We call them as like, you know, Bob or James or whatever. And also we switch some, you know, context in our word problem into like more US, you know, focus. But as we talk to the users, we launch our curriculum, we realize that actually the underlying motivation for the students to learn in the US is very different from the underlying motivation for the student to learn in the China. So I will just break it down for 2 parts. First of all, the environment is very different. Like the way they, you know, climb up the social ladder, they just kind of like, you know, playing the game like level 1, level 2, and finally go to the best university in China. This is the whole environment is setting up for them to do the math at a certain level. They know what is their expectation from the social environment. So this is the one thing, you know, that's how our own curriculum back in China kind of like correlate with the environment as well. And also from the parents, you know, from all the pressures outside. However, in the US, students learn from different perspective. Like their motivation is totally different. They learn because they like it. If they don't learn because they don't like it. So actually our curriculum not only to teach them how to learn math, but also why they're learning math. We have to send this message to a lot of our students so that they will decide to not only learn math in school but also choose our after school program. So this is like very different, I think, because we have so many stories along the localization part, but if we just, you know, narrow down to one point, I think it's the underlying motivation to learn, especially math, is just so different. Not only compared with US and China, we go to UK, we go to Singapore, we go to Canada, just so different from different, you know, countries and environment as well. So this is my takeaway of the past 4 years, I think, academy.
I can't agree with more. I think cultural differences is one of my most interesting topic. I think one of the biggest thing I've done in the past year as a GM, right? Nini talked a lot extensively about the educational difference in the content, right? There's also cultural difference in business models, and there's also cultural difference in your managements. And I think those 3 categories are the hardest question I was facing last year. And to share one anecdote about the course actually. I was in Boston and then presenting our course to one of the investors, and he said, "I love the business, Julia, but I'm not gonna have my kid take the class." And I was like, "Why? Your kid loved it, right?" And he said, "Well, in your demo class, we had Yang Boshi, right, a sheep, and then as the doctor in the course, and he was African American. So he was like, well, you're the most educated and most senior character in this demo class is a white person, so you're a white supremacist." And I was like, so what are your advice and what are your options? And he was like, well, the sheep can be brown, can be black, can be any other color, right? I was like, all right, I'll paint a rainbow. So like those are the cultural shock that just come out of all the nuances that you interact. And in terms of management too, actually right before this conversation, I was having a one-on-one with our teachers. And she's a super senior teacher, really great. I love her with all my heart. And then we were trying to give her a piece of feedback on how she was delivering the class. And she said, well, Julia, why are you giving me the piece of feedback? Is it because I'm older than you? Then I will assume the company has ageism. And I was like, okay. And then you have to find the other way to pass along the message, right? So if you're interested, I can talk nonstop about how the business model is not working. We should change it. How the management style and the culture we should cultivate in the U.S. should be different than the ones we were leading, and how we lead the team, right, should be very different how we lead in China.
Yeah, this is, well, first of all, I love diversity because when we invest in a company, when the 3 people, 4 guys come into the office, if one of them at least speak English with accent, then the chances being invested is much higher. Because what we find out is for a team that's diversified, especially there are kind of immigrants in the team, this kind of team has much higher rate of success when they start a company. So that's just pure fact. Yeah. So if everybody come in with a perfect English, there's nothing wrong with it. But it just somehow, when I realized, or one of my partners realized, is one person at least is an immigrant, the chance of success normally is much higher. That's based on the information we have. We have invested so many companies. I don't have the slide, but for the unicorn companies we invested, they become unicorn. 80% of the founders are foreign, not foreigners, it's immigrants. So that's a hard fact. But also, if you look at the Fortune 500 CEOs, say, so the cultural diversity is a good thing. We have advantage because we're diverse to begin with. Yeah. So in Chinese they say 外来的和尚会念经. This is 100% correct. Because if you have your own culture, then you come to a new place. In this case, it's the U.S. or Silicon Valley. You learn the local things carefully, and then you have to, right? Other people, if they're not immigrants or they're only stay in one place for their life, they have knowledge. That's one dimension, right? But if you're coming from other culture, you have 2 dimensions, so you are stronger. So that's why I tell all the immigrants, particularly Asian descendant, be proud of yourself. Stay strong, stay high. You will be much more successful as long as you try, because you have cultural diversity by nature. Okay, so let's continue to the next question. I'm a business person, right? Investing. So I always believe making money is a good thing. So the motto we have as companies: do good and be wise. Do good alone is not enough, because when you go broke, there's nothing else you could do. You have no influence. So you have to be wise. When you're wise, you make money. Same thing here. But for education, I feel it's very challenging. How do you balance the interests of students and the interests of profit, right? So how do you balance these 2 goals? I think this is something I'm very interested to know. Maybe from Julia this side.
I actually think it's not a question in the long run. It's a question about the different phases. Just so you know, our PR team had prepared an answer for me, but I'm not going to go with the answer. I'm going to give you the real things out of the bag. And I think my strategic decision coming to the US the first year is to tell our CEO, it's not recorded, right? Well, it's to tell our CEO we're going to lose money, and it's okay. And this is this is the ceiling that we're going with. This is the cash burn that I'm going to go with. And I know exactly where I want to lose money. And I know exactly how much I want to lose at what place, right? For example, I'm going to hire the best teacher in the field, because I want to know that if I had the best teacher in the field, what the level of quality of service I can provide to the students. And that's the maximum yet right now I can provide. But with that being said, though, I need constantly be paying attention to my unit economy, right? I know that it's not a model I'm gonna keep burning for the next 10 years. I know that within a year, here are the action steps I can take to make it profitable. So I think in this sense, if I put on the hat of a GM, I think any question for any company, not education specifically, it's about different phases. You strategically either make money or lose money at a different phase. But if I were to put on a hat of an educator, I would say that where you lose money is different, since we're an education company, right? I want to deliberately lose money, or